Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. New video today, a very special one to watch.
So the goal is to restore the natural functioning of the Vernisson.
I'm joining a fish rescue.
The river was no longer flowing.
We'll really only see the fish at the very end to get a sense of how many were in this 2-hectare pond. And it's a private pond to begin with. With the water levels lowered, we're going to save the fish. Oh yeah, there's a carp. Yes, you can see the back of the carp. Oh yeah, nice carp. We have a great team, and the idea is to bring the net toward the deep area here, to collect all the fish, save them, and relocate them to other ponds. Come on, I'll take you with me for this fish rescue. Before we continue, it's important to understand the context. This pond is completely private, and most importantly, it hasn't been drained in over 20 years. As a fishing enthusiast, I've already had the chance to witness a pond being drained, but that was on a public body of water, and believe me, it was already impressive. Because the reality is, a pond always keeps a bit of mystery. We imagine, we guess, but as long as the water is there, it's impossible to really know what's hiding in it. And here the unknown is even greater. 20 years without being drained, on a nearly forgotten private pond. No one truly knows what we're going to discover. Alongside the Epage, the Loing Basin, the Loiret Fishing Federation, students from the Barres High School in Nogent-sur-Vernisson, and many other people involved in the field, we are going to carry out a fish rescue operation using a net in order to recover the entire fish population. An intervention that actually follows a precise protocol, much more structured than it seems. But this operation is also part of a large-scale ecological project. And you will understand the stakes throughout this video. If you are a fisherman or simply a lover of our rivers, what you are about to discover might really catch your attention. We've positioned ourselves at the end of the pond and are slowly pulling the net toward the dam. And we're really trying to keep the weighted part of the net, which is right here, as close to the mud as possible to prevent the fish from escaping.
My name is Jonathan, I'm 44 and work as an aquatic environment project manager at the Loing Basin Water Board, a public institution for water management and development. So basically our main job is to restore the functioning of the rivers and streams in the Loing Basin. The basin covers 3 departments, starting with the source department, which is Yonne, then it crosses the Loiret department, especially the town of Montargis. The Loing joins the Seine at Saint-Mamet in Seine-et-Marne. So here we are in a relatively large area because it covers 266 towns. And here we are really in the headwaters, in one of the source towns, in the Puiseaux and Vernisson Basin. The main issue we have in this area is the ponds that are dammed one after another along the course of the Vernisson. A pond is a closed environment, it operates in isolation, while a river is an open environment that must function in a completely different way. And here in fact we have this mix of habitats, and we have ponds that completely intercept the flow of the watercourse to the point that this multiplication of ponds along the stream causes significant breaks in the flow, and the existing ponds are detrimental to life in the river. So the primary goal of this operation is to restore the natural functioning of the Vernisson. So here we're going to drain a pond that's located on the course of the Vernisson so that eventually we can put the Vernisson back into this area. So yes, it's the removal of a pond, but it's so that the river in the end can be as healthy as possible.
There's a lot of heavy silt here now. The silt is starting to change color now. I'm not cold. First movement on the surface now.
This pond, it's going to become a vast wetland, meaning that all the exposed areas, all this mud, this organic matter that has accumulated will become vegetated. So we're really going to have wetland plants, reeds, irises, what we call helophytes, which will help with water quality because they're phytoremediation plants. They are real natural purification stations, which will also serve as egg-laying habitat for all kinds of organisms, for birds, for fish, and for pike reproduction. These are plants that you find in pike spawning grounds. However, we'll lose the body of water effect, which heats up and causes significant evaporation. Our calculations show that in high heat, evaporation can reach up to 4 liters per second per hectare. The total accumulated evaporation is higher than the average flow of the river. The goal is for the river to flow naturally, making the water cooler, reducing evaporation and leaving more water in the river. The heart of the problem is that all these ponds, so they can be rich, but it's at the expense of the river's functioning. So the goal is to restore the functioning of the river within the area of the pond, which itself is located on the river's natural bed. This type of project will benefit all users, including the agricultural sector, since agricultural withdrawals are directly linked to the flow of the waterways. So the environment will be restored and we will have a steady flow throughout the year, so biodiversity will return and users, especially farmers, will also be able to benefit from this restoration of aquatic environments.
There you go, we've done about 2/3 of the netting. The further we go, the closer we get to the deep area and the dam. And we've already seen the first movements on the surface. That's a bit of what's so amazing about fishing with a net. We're in the mud, there's not much water, but we'll see the fish at the last moment, get an idea of how many there were in this 2-hectare pond. That's kind of the surprise. We could easily come across carp, pike or zander. So now the next step will be to gently tighten the net, set up the stakes, and then we'll start the fish rescue.
Just as a little anecdote, in 2022, you have to understand that the Vernisson was dry from May until February of the following year. So basically, for about 70% of the time, the river wasn't flowing anymore. And this issue with the chain of ponds, most of which are irregular and from an administrative point of view illegal, really harms how the river functions. When you have an environment that dries out for long periods, all the biodiversity dies off, even though nature does have a certain amount of resilience. The problem is that the dry periods are almost yearly. The idea is that besides restoring areas where floodwaters can spread and spawning areas, it's mainly about improving the river's hydrology. These wetlands that we're going to restore will really act like a sponge. In winter, they'll fill up and get saturated. In summer, they'll slowly release water.
The further we go, the harder it is to pull the net because the mud gets caught in the bottom of the net and it gets heavier and heavier.
What you need to understand is that here we're really in the headwaters. All these ponds that were built in the headwaters have completely changed the typology because now we find carp, we find species from very different environments, but actually these are species that from an ecological standpoint don't really belong here. They're more often found downstream. So in the projects we carry out, we do a fish survey to assess the general health of the river before the work. And we do these assessments after the work as well to see the positive changes in all this fish biodiversity.
That's it, we're reaching the last third. This is the final stretch before bringing the net to the shore, and you can already see all the dark patches of stirred up silt, the movements of the first fish. It looks like there are quite a few fish.
You can lift it up, ease it a bit.
Now we only have 10 meters left to reel in. I think we'll see the fish soon. We can see them moving in the nets, lots of small fish and some big ones in the back. They've gone to get the stakes. The goal is to pull in the net as much as possible. We'll place the stakes like this to create a holding area. All that's left is to catch the fish with large dip nets. Oh yes, there's a carp over there. You can see the carps back there. Oh yeah, nice carp. The net is now tightened in the deepest part of the pond. The fish are gathered together, and from now on everything will have to speed up. The excitement is starting to build. This is where the mystery of this pond might finally be revealed. How rich will its fish population be? Will we discover a variety of species, unexpected fish, or large specimens? All these questions will be answered shortly. The next stage of this fish rescue operation is being prepared. With the students, the sorting table is organized to accurately identify each species. Nearby, the truck is ready, equipped with oxygenated tanks designed to receive the fish in the best possible conditions. In the next few minutes, the teams will have to act quickly. The fish will be collected using dip nets, sorted by species and size, then immediately transferred into the tanks. Every minute will count to limit their stress and maximize their chances of survival. This type of operation usually takes place in winter. At this time, the fish's metabolism slows down. Their oxygen consumption decreases and the risk of mortality is greatly reduced. There's the machine behind the jackhammer, which is breaking the dam so that all the water from the pond can escape. And now it's time to go get the fish in the net. There are quite a few different species. There's a nice pike there. Great.
Yeah.
There you go. I have a nice tank that's a good representation of the different species we have here. We have pike, roach, we have crucian carp, really some very, very beautiful crucian carp. We have some small perch, and here we have what we call nuisance fish, which will be separated into sorting tanks. So we have pumpkin seed sunfish, and we also have a little bit of catfish. There aren't many, considering how big the pond is. That's pretty positive. All right, I'll put it in the tank. And here we have the first fish. We have some crucian carp, really beautiful crucian carp. We can see the first specimens of pike. There are also some very big carp, and otherwise quite a few non-predatory fish, quite a few roaches, really a lot. That's cool. It means that it was still a pond that was working well. Quite a few non-predatory fish. We're going to go back down to the net. We're going to check out the other tanks, because there are some big fish waiting for us. Oh yes! Look! This is the most beautiful specimen we've seen. That's already a nice big one. Should this go in a separate container or not? It's moving a lot.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The students who came to observe the fish rescue as part of their training are accompanying us throughout the entire operation. They took part in setting up and pulling the net. Now we're moving on to sorting. The white fish, such as roaches, rudd and crucian carp, are directed into the first container. The larger fish, especially pike and carp, are placed in a second one. Some species will not be reintroduced into public bodies of water, so they are set aside. The sorting is done gradually. We identify the species, sort them, and prepare for the next stage of the transfer.
So here, quite simply, the goal is to sort the different fish. And that's it. To put the unwanted species in one tank and those ready to go back to the ponds in another.
I'll take it up right away. That's a nice pike. We're near the end of the net, just small fish remain. We have a few bins to pick up, then that'll be the end of the sorting, and we'll go release them in a pond that's not far from here. There you go. This is the transfer of the selected fish into the oxygenated tank to take them to their new pond. The fish are now being transferred a few kilometers from here to a really interesting ecological site. In the past, 2 ponds blocked the river. They prevented the free movement of fish and contributed to the drying up of the watercourse. Since then, the Water Authority has carried out ecological restoration. One of the ponds was removed and turned into a wetland to encourage fish reproduction, especially pike, and to reduce the risk of flooding. Today, this wetland is reconnected to the river and linked to the nearby public pond, which has been preserved and enhanced for fishing. Some of the fish will be released here, and the rest in the spawning area. For the pond we just drained, this operation shows its full potential. The site will be able to develop into a more balanced environment with spawning areas for pike and better ecological connectivity in the river. The wetland also helps maintain the stream's flow during dry periods, bringing life back to this segment that was previously cut off. The fish that will be released will be able to thrive in an environment favorable to their growth and reproduction, while also providing good conditions for recreational fishing. We're here. The truck just arrived at the pond's edge. We have the fish here with the containers, and then we're going to release some right here, and another part just behind.
We're going to take most of the fish, so all the white fish, carp and some pike, into the pond managed by the Federation. We'll put a few big pike in the large wetland area up above,
In the spawning area?
so they can spawn.
Ah, she's beautiful, isn't she? Do you have any idea about the amount of fish in terms of weight?
150 kilos.
That's not much, is it?
It's not a lot, but it wasn't a big body of water for a 2-hectare pond, which hasn't really been maintained for fish farming.
Come on, beautiful. Ah, that's a beautiful one. There you go. And Antoine, if you had to give us a little summary of today's fish rescue?
Listen, the summary of the day is pretty positive. We took out about 150 kilos of fish from this body of water. For a 2-hectare body of water that isn't maintained for fish farming, that's pretty good. With a well-balanced population, because we have quite a few roaches, some bream, and in the end a ratio of pike that isn't.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good then. And honestly, what's really interesting is that we have all age groups of pike.
Yes, we saw both small and big ones.
So that means the wetland area is really working well. And so that's a pretty good sign for the future once the pages work is finished. The river will flow through the wetland, which will improve pike reproduction and benefit the stream. And since it's the indicator species in the stream, honestly, that's a good sign for the future, so that's good. We came to release them into a lake managed by the Fishing Federation in Nogent-sur-Vernisson, where we sent all the whitefish, the bream, and most of the pike. And then we put a few pike in the stream next to it in the wetland area, so that there they can actually start reproducing as early as this year. And then the students who were with us this morning, it's the same. When you think about it, they had an interesting and rather uncommon experience. They were motivated, so honestly everything went well, it was cool.
Thanks, Antoine, for the talk. Maybe see you next time.
Maybe see you next time?
That's already twice.
Yes, twice. And next time maybe on something other than a body of water. We'll try to arrange that.
With pleasure.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching this report to the end. A slightly different, more immersive format to better understand the issues at stake behind this type of intervention. Beyond this fish rescue, this intervention is part of a much broader approach. The E-Page, the Public Water Management and Development Authority, operates at the scale of the watershed, from the sources all the way to the confluence with the river. Because here, every action counts, and as we often say, every little bit helps. The work carried out helps restore the ecological continuity of aquatic environments, which is essential for many fish species. Species like pike, trout, and eel, which need to move freely to complete their life cycle and ensure their reproduction. These projects, carried out in the public interest, are made possible thanks to the involvement of many local stakeholders. They are notably supported by the Seine-Normandie Water Agency, which is the main funder involved in public interest projects related to the preservation and restoration of aquatic environments. And sometimes, it is enough to bring a river back to life to let nature take its course again.